years of sulking and the game would be stronger than it is now. Concur with that, Rob? Question 3. What qualities are required in a great halfback pairing? And as a follow-up, how do we develop that in the UK? Jesus, boys, how long have you got? Right, where do we start with this one? Well, for both mine and Rob's here, you've got to have two guys that are, first of all, good communicators. Secondly, great ability with kicking, both of them. Not just relying on one, because it's too easy to close down for the defence if you're just targeting one guy all the time. Ideally, as Rob put, a kicker on the left with his left foot, a kicker on the right with his right foot. It's not always ideal. Sorry, that is the ideal, but it's not always possible. But it's got to be communication, and it's got to be the boys actually having the vision and looking up, which is a point that Rob puts down when he penned this back to me, saying that it actually gets coached out of kids at an early age because they're so structure orientated. So in the 20s, in the 20-yard area or 20-meter area, they play to a certain structure, so they don't make mistakes, so they don't lose the ball, so they don't turn it over cheaply, which is fair enough. But then that gets formatted then right the way up the pitch. Whereas you've got to look at, I know I've said this before, but you've got to look at the likes of Lee Breeze, okay? He plays with his eyes up all the time. Now, yeah, he was very inconsistent in his early days, but you always knew that at the drop of a hat, especially when the Sky cameras were on him, he would come up with some pearlers, absolute pearlers, and you never knew what he was doing. Now, Tony Smith got hold of him, and in his twilight years, he kind of mellowed a little bit, but he still had that twist, that turn, that he could do anything at any time, and he had the balls to do it. He simply had the confidence to do it. Now, I know Leeds are going through a bad patch at the minute, but the only light that I see coming from that is Lilly. I just think he is going to be the next big thing alongside Williams. So you've got Williams there. Is it Williams? Mark's little bud there from Wigan. He's there with speed, but you've got to have someone cocky and confident and cocksure of themselves, like Lilly is at this tender age, to just go, do you know what, boys? This is on, and I'm going to play for it. And just back himself. It doesn't seem to be being schooled out of him. And I don't know, because is that the player he is? Is that his personality? Or have they gone, do you know what? Let this guy be a little bit of a maverick. Show him what he needs to be doing in certain areas, but let's not coach the maverickness out of him. That's what you've got to have in a decent halfback. A great point that Rob makes on that is that at a younger age, you've got to start playing more tag. And you've not just got to put the big guys in the big positions. So take the emphasis off tackling and leave it more on ball playing, eye coordination, skills, footwork, and coach the whole team to do that. Not just the little guys, because you look at Liam Price, he's over 6 foot and he's a great pair of hands. For whatever reason, he didn't fit into the category of put the little guy at the back. He's the guy that we go to for being a scrum half or a standoff. And I think that's the way it's got to be. That's the way it's got to be. You have to coach everybody the same. Give everybody the skill. Look at what James Graham can do now. He's got delicate soft hands that he can just before he goes into collision, soft hands, off it goes. The amount of tries that have been scored on the back of James Graham, and the Aussies have seen that, and they've started to mirror that with the likes of a few of their big players. Just, you get 3 guys going into one big guy coming at you. If that one guy can offload just at the last minute, it ties up a whole heap of players, and that's where we've got to go for. So at an early age, coaching the kids, get them all to do footwork, get them all to do kicking, and then cherry pick once they've all matured. Who are your big lads? Who are your guys that are genetically able to carry that through as being a forward? And who are the guys that then can slot into your backs? Or get the big guys being a back. Hey ho, why not? Now, question 4. What are your top 5 chocolate bars of all time? Lads, I've been thinking about this for weeks. This just been fucking tormenting me, this one. Anyway, I'll do Rob's first. He's not put them in any particular order, so I'll let you guys decide which way around this should be. So, he's put Cadbury's Cream Egg. Does that count? Question mark. Then he's got Whisper Gold. Then he's got Toblerone, which, man, Toblerone. How the fuck do you even eat that? It's triangular shaped. If you get the giant one, you need to go and see the dentist after the first bit. Anyway, so he's got Toblerone, then he's got Lion Bar, then he's got Cadbury's Milk Chocolate, which is Oreo flavour. I would kind of suggest that's number 1 on his list, but as I say, he's not put which way around it is. So, after much dilemma, at number 5 for me, it's got to be the humble Snickers. Where can it go wrong? Nuts and chocolate, just peach, absolute peach. Then at number 4, you've got the Twix. Now, yeah, simple Twix, but if you open the box that I've posted to you, if the postman hasn't already fucking scoffed the lot, you should find a Twix. You've got to eat the Twix in a certain way. That is with a cup of tea and using the Twix as a straw. So, fill your boots, fellas, and don't choke. And number 3, a twirl, which is exactly the same reason. You've got to have it with a cup of tea and use the twirl as a straw. And number 2, it was hard between number 2 and 1. I tell you, it's a tough one. But I've gone for number 2 being the Morrow Bar, which is I've sent it over for you as well. I think they might call it something else in the homelands there. And then at number 1, we got the good old-fashioned Dime Bar. Yes, Mark, get your quips in there. Dime Bar. Do you remember the advert? Anyway, lads, been a pleasure. Appreciate you asking me to do this. It's been a great pleasure to be listening to you guys over the past couple of years, and keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Over and out.
Right, Darren. First of all, thank you, mate. That was and Rob, of course. Thank you for your double-headed answer there. That was amazing. And also, thank you for the chocolate that you were kind enough to send through the post to us.
Yeah, we've got them laid out. We haven't brewed up yet. I normally have my brews when I'm putting the show together on a Monday night.
And I'm working really hard not to eat sweets and chocolate at the minute. So
you've got to have the Snickers because I can't eat nuts. So if you
okay, right. Well, if I take the Snickers, you can take the rest, can't you?
I'm not a big Dime Bar guy.
Well, what about the good lady wife?
I like a soft.
Right, here's how it goes, mate. If you leave it here, I can't promise I'm not going to be eating it before you've got in your fucking car. So
that's not my problem.
No, I know it's not, but you can help a brother out.
Fair enough.
Okay, I will.
We got a little note with the care package.
Yes.
Sparky and Big Dog, happy 100th pod. Here is my selection, but you have to eat them as I described, so put the kettle on.
First of all, I don't think we could have eaten them quickly enough.
I don't know if you thought we'd eat them during that.
Cheers.
Fat guzzlers as we think we are. Anyway, it says, Morrow no more, they now call them Boost here too. Enjoy Dar, a.k.a. Alfie, a.k.a. King Dingaling.
King Dingaling. Well, thank you very much, Darren. And again, been involved from day one. I do love the fact that he still talks about Lee Greers in the present tense. That strikes a man who's forgotten that Chris Sandow plays for his team.
I love how serious he got about Rob's chocolate selections.
Yeah.
There's an issue in their relationship, I think.
There is an undertone, isn't there? There's definite undertone. Right. Speaking of the undertones, a man who needs no introduction, Mr. Paul Campbell, ladies and gentlemen.
This is Paul Campbell, London Broncos fan, and some stupid questions I've been asked by the guys at Super League Pod. One of my favourite games was back in 2011. It was Quins versus Cass. The game, if I remember rightly, ended in a draw, and it was just end to end. It could have ended up 50 points each. It was that entertaining. The atmosphere was electric at the time, even though it was a Friday night game. I do believe it was on Sky Sports. I can't remember that far back. But it was just good. Everything about the game was good. It was exciting to watch. Both sets of fans were singing away and everything else. And halfway through the game, Cass had a conversion and some geezer screamed out, miss it, and the kicker scuffed his kick and fell over. It was funny. What championship sides can sustain themselves in Super League? To be honest, I don't think many can. I think a lot of it will be a case of yo-yoing for the first couple of years. They need a lot of money. And is there money in the championship level? Not really, not a great deal, not as much as they need. I suppose if anybody, it'd probably have to be Lee, Bradford, if the rumblings are true that there is money issues again at Bradford. But they are going to need to spend a hell of a lot of money. Not sure there is a club in the championship that probably could go all the way and sustain themselves in Super League. It's going to involve a hell of a lot of cash, but I don't know. Lee and Bradford, if any of the clubs are going to do it, it will be Lee or Bradford, but I personally can't see it. What got me into rugby league? Living in the south, the only time rugby league was ever on the telly was the Challenge Cup final, and it was always something I always made sure that I watched. So I sort of grew up watching the likes of Wigan win trophies year in, year out. But recently, as back as 2010, I had a spare ticket for a football match. I took my eldest kid, and the youngest got upset, so I promised her that I'd get a season ticket for her and myself for the Harlequins. And basically ever since then, it's just grown. One of the things I always wanted to do as a child was go to Wembley for the Challenge Cup. I've now been 7 out of the last 8 years, and I've only managed to see Wigan win it twice. That needs to change. Not sure about when the next question come from. Smarties. You know, do they make kids hyperactive? I don't know, because I only eat the yellow and blue ones, and the brown ones, I throw the red and green away. You know, can't have red and green sweets, it's just wrong.
Okay, right, thanks for that, Bricktop. Really, that was fantastic, Paul.
That absolutely rinsed us. Why would you want red and green sweets?
I'll throw away. I don't give them to anyone, because they're mine.
It's like the
I'm mine to do what the fuck you want with, and put me in a fucking bin.
It was the exact opposite to the answer to that question to Dr. Bob's, but it was great to get an insight into young Paul's life, watching the Challenge Cup final and stuff.
I found it mildly disturbing. It was a little bit like your first night in prison, listening to your new cellmate tell you about his life in rugby league, innit?
He did obviously record that at the end of a night shift or something.
Paul, I can't wait for a couple of weeks to go by and see Paul. I mean, that's fantastic. And again, Paul's been involved with the show from virtually like day one, as far as I can remember.
I remember.
That's tremendous.
Like I met up with him at the first Magic and spent most of the day with him, getting a few beers, and then he went home down to London to go straight to work.
That's right.
Sent me a picture at about 4 a.m. when he was on his break, looking absolutely exhausted.
Yeah.
And I love the stuff. The thing about Paul that I love most, I think, is this idea that rugby league, faming his daughters is like their thing, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I love that with those guys.
Yeah.
And it was great meeting the two girls last year at Blackpool, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're absolute credit to him as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And looking forward to seeing him in a couple of weeks' time as well, which we'll talk more about later on. But
brilliant,
Paul, thank you so much for contributing all these years.
Definitely.
As well specifically for the podcast. Right, we're heading down under now and bringing you the thoughts and feedbacks of International Listener of the Year, Richard Wilkinson.
I think he was fan of the year.
Forgive me, yes, fan of the year, Richard Wilkinson.
For his cross world travels.
That's right, because he came out for the grand final, didn't he? Oh, money well spent these days, I'm sure he thinks.
Well, he ain't going to be coming this year for grand final, is he?
Hey, do you think he might come over for £1 million match?
It depends. It'd have to be like Rob Burrow and Danny Maguire's last game, wouldn't it? Then maybe.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, that's an ignominious way to go out, isn't it? Right, in all seriousness, let's see what Rich Wilkinson had to say.
What was your first memory of a rugby league match, and were you always going to be a Leeds fan? In my family, it's not an option to be anything else other than a Leeds fan. Aunties, uncles, cousins, grandparents, parents.